The draft process has a lot of moving parts. It's really something that starts years and years ago. You know, you want to first start evaluating a lot of the top prospects when they're 16, 17 years old, sometimes even 15, and you're really just building a book on a lot of these players. We had been evaluating the 3 prospects we drafted for years and years, you know, some of them even before their draft eligible year. Looking at Ryan Rupert, that's a guy who was really on the scene, 15, 16 years old, and was able to watch him at various stops, you know, in France, New Zealand, and so it's really just building a book on all the prospects and getting to know them both on the court and off the court. Scoot has been on the radar for, you know, at least a few years, played the 2 professional years with the G League Ignite. Chris at Iowa, going to scout Keegan and getting to know Chris and his game a little bit over the last couple of years. It's really a kind of a slow build and getting to know who these prospects are, how their game is going to translate, and then eventually, you know, make a decision on whether or not they fit into what we're trying to build. And we felt really good about all 3. We're really excited about, you know, all 3, and I think for different reasons. You know, Scoot, he's a special player with the ball in his hands, but what struck me with him more than anything is just how he is as a person. He's incredibly approachable. He's a true leader in that sense. The way he carries himself, and I think that's rooted in his family. They're a really tight-knit group. You know, his family owns and runs a gym out there, and so he really grew up around basketball and around a family that, you know, all embraces kind of the journey of becoming a professional athlete. As a player, he's electric with the ball. He's long, he's physical, he's explosive, he's got those big hands. Really, really hard to keep in front. He can pass it on the move. You know, he's gonna turn into a really dynamic shot maker too. And he has the tools to play both ends at a really, really high level. So yeah, just a rare blend of all those things that, you know, I haven't seen very often from a top prospect in, you know, my 10+ years doing this.
Wide open for Scoot Henderson, who buries another triple.
Chris, we just saw Chris as a guy who's plug and play. You know, he's kind of the prototypical 3-and-D type of wing forward, you know, that you're looking for in today's game.
Chris Murray for 3, good.
Was incredibly productive this last year at Iowa. You know, anytime you get a guy who's averaging 20 a game, making, you know, movement threes and playing within himself, being someone who can, you know, score and defend without needing a lot of dribbles and a lot of volume is something that we were really attracted to. Lastly, Ryan, his dad was a big-time player, you know, over in France, had a tremendous career, you know, tragically passed. I think when Ryan was, I want to say around, you know, 10 or 11 years old. So he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think really wants to carry on the family name. His dad was a tough competitor, you know, defensive-minded, and that's where you see Ryan, you know, make his impact. I mean, he is relentless with the way he defends the basketball. He's got long arms, really, really active with his hands, and just really aggressive in his nature on the defensive end of the floor. All guys are very different. They each bring something different to the table, but, you know, we're excited to get all 3 guys in the building, in the organization, and think they're going to be really, really good for us for a lot of years to come.